Hey everyone, I hope that you all had a great week this week. As many of you know, I like to bring the kids up here to Washington when I get a chance. This week I took my new 4-year-old little girl, Madeline. She just turned 4 the other day. We went out to the Lincoln Memorial. We got to see snow, right? There was some snow for you when we went out there. Went out and had some dinners. You want to say hi to Mommy?
Hi, Mommy.
What about your brother? Want to say hi? All right. You want to go? Good. See you later. All right, take your shoes with you. Anyway, great week this week here in Washington. Also, as many of you know, getting back on track with some of the legislation that we've been working on. Last year I wrote legislation to mandate that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers redo something known as the Lake Okeechobee Regulation Schedule, or LORS. The President signed this into law after I wrote that piece of legislation. This is the schedule which will now be known as the Lake Okeechobee System Operating Manual. So it's going from the acronym LORS to the acronym LOSOM. This is after they move forward and rewrite it. So if you hear us talking about LORS, that's what exists right now. If you hear us talking about what's going to exist in the future after LORS, what's being redone, that's what's known as LOSOM. That's basically what determines when the Army Corps of Engineers discharges water to the East Coast, to the West Coast, out of Lake Okeechobee. This is very important to our community, and there's a number of different moving parts that are going to be going on for the next 3 years throughout this process, where our community and all communities are around the lake, as well as elected representatives, people in government in various places, are going to have an opportunity to sound off on this. So there's a lot of moving parts. I really encourage everybody to pay attention when we're talking about LORS or talking about LOSOM, because chances are likely that you're going to have that opportunity to go out there and make your voice known about what you want to say about the science of this or how something is affecting your community. Now, ensuring our community's voice is heard in the process, it's absolutely critical to preventing discharges to our coast. If we want no more lost summers, this is our chance to be heard and make a real difference in that process. When you think about what the Corps of Engineers says to our community on the East Coast, when Lake Okeechobee gets at a high level in the summertime, whether there's toxic algal blooms in there or not, the answer is, listen, there's a risk to the dike south of Lake Okeechobee. That dike, we also gave last year all of the dollars to finish repairing that dike. So they're saying there's a risk to that dike, there's a risk of flood. So as a result, the Corps of Engineers is going to discharge water to the east and west based upon that schedule, the Lake Okeechobee Regulation Schedule. So that's being redone, the way that is going to work, the way the Corps is going to manage Lake Okeechobee. Very important. So this week, I invited the Corps of Engineers to brief Congress on how the process to redo the discharge schedule is going to work. And I want to share some of that information about how you can participate, because as I said, this is our chance as a community to really go out there and make a difference. Now, starting in February, the Corps of Engineers is going to enter the public input and planning process, which means that they will be hosting a number of meetings and public forums where they need to demonstrate how the current system is damaging our environment, how the current system is damaging our economy, how the current system is damaging and putting at risk our public health and so many other places. These are meetings where we need to speak up, and not just with our personal experiences about how the discharges have affected our time out boating or our time out fishing or our time out with different things, but also backed with data and science to show that the continuing this continuing hurt of our community is simply not acceptable. And so we need this on a number of fronts. We need your personal stories, but we need that backed up by the science as well. So here are the dates to know where you can go participate. Now on February 5, there's going to be 2 meetings in Fort Myers, one at 1 p.m. and one at 6 p.m. Those are 2-hour meetings. February 6 in Okeechobee, February 11 in Clewiston, February 19 there's going to be 2 meetings in Stuart, one at 1 p.m. and one at 6 p.m. Again, 2-hour meetings. February 26th, there's going to be one in Broward County. February 27th, there's going to be one in West Palm Beach. And February 28th, there's going to be one in Miami-Dade County. Now, there are going to be other meetings that occur throughout this process, but these are public comment meetings. There's a number of different phases that go along to redoing this schedule over the course of the next year, 2 years, 3 years. There's a number of different phases. There will be other opportunities to make your voice heard. There will be other opportunities to be heard in private meetings and different working groups that go along with this. But these are the most immediate times to go out there and let the Corps of Engineers know how your community is being affected and what the science says about that. Now, the full times and locations are available on my website, www.mast.house.gov, if you want to read that or share that or send that information to other people in and around the community. Now, in other great news, Governor Ron DeSantis, great friend, appointed 2 new members to the South Florida Water Management District Board. The first one, Chauncey Gause. He's a member of the Captains for Clean Water, the Sanibel and Captiva Conservation Foundation. He has a strong understanding of the issues plaguing Florida's waterways. We've had a number of conversations together. I was proud to support him in this endeavor. I believe that he will be a passionate advocate for reform and really help to advance the governor's bold plan to clean up Florida's waterways. So glad to see him placed on the board. The second, another friend of mine, Alligator Ron Bergeron. He's lived his entire life in the Everglades. He understands the complexities of restoration better than almost anybody. He has a proven track record of doing what is best for the Everglades. He's going to bring some long overdue, much needed transparency to the South Florida Water Management District Board. So glad to see both of those announcements are made. We're going to be looking forward to another number of other announcements being made on other seats that will be made available on that South Florida Water Management District Board. Now, both of these men, they're great picks in the fight to make South Florida Water Management District represent the people and the needs of the people and represent all of those things that have gone on that were not right in the years past, and I'm really happy to see these changes. Now, finally, I want to recognize and say thank you to everyone who for nearly 5 weeks went to work each and every day without receiving a paycheck. These can include people that you came in contact with in your life, our TSA officers, when you were flying through one of the airports anywhere around the country. Those individuals were going to work without a paycheck at Palm Beach International, most locally. Our Coasties, our Coast Guard men and women, were going to work, doing inherently dangerous work day in, day out, without receiving a paycheck. Now, despite not receiving a paycheck, our Coasties, for example, I sat with them this past weekend. They put themselves in harm's way to serve our country, and I wanted to share some of the incredible numbers with you of the work that they were doing, and say thanks for those efforts of our Coast Guard's men and women in District 7, which protect all of Florida, and especially their protection and what they seized during the shutdown. 1,564 kilograms of cocaine. That's what they interdicted. 1,792 pounds of marijuana. 4 kilograms of heroin. These were things that they interdicted illegally. There's a number of other things they did as well, but that's just some of the illegal activity that they interdicted. Additionally, 309 illegal migrants were prevented from entering the country unlawfully. Nearly 300 lives were saved and assisted. This is all work that was done while they weren't receiving a paycheck, not safe work. This work was done by our Coasties, and it can only be described as above and beyond, in my opinion, and I thank each and every one of them for their dedication to keeping us safe on the front lines. Now, on that note, as always, I hope that you all have a great week ahead. I hope that you have a great weekend, as we move through it. As always, it's an honor to serve you, to represent you here in Washington, D.C., and I wish you all the best.